Okay, now we're moving on to something completely new, and it's just notes today. Tomorrow you'll be working on through an assignment on your own. Now, what I'm going to be doing here is pretty much adding expressions in like terms is all this pretty much is, and it does set us up for what's coming up along. Now, right here there are two terms. It's what's called a polynomial. Just put poly, P-O-L-Y, and that's another polynomial. We need to do is perform operations, so you need to circle the operator that you see right here. It's a plus sign, and then all you pretty much do is 8x and 6x. We'll drop the x first, okay? Put the x down there, then you just take 8 plus 6, okay? I know this seems kind of elementary, I'm doing this, but 8 plus 6 is 14, so it'll be 14x. Now you need to be careful here. When a number in a polynomial has a minus sign in front of it, you need to enter that as a negative, okay? It's negative 12. You can't screw that up either, okay? So if it's got a minus, that needs to be used. We need to use a negative sign. And then the plus operator, and then 9. 9's positive because it's got a plus. So negative 12 plus 9 is negative 3. So 14x plus negative 3, and that's the answer to that problem. Okay, my next problem, again, that's a polynomial. So we got 9x to the third and 4x to the third. You need to drop the x, but put a third power on it. And a lot of people are like, well, wouldn't you add the 3 and the 3? No, you don't. You're not going to add the powers, okay? Adding the powers is if we have to multiply. And we're not multiplying anything here. And we have the plus operator. I should have circled that at the beginning. And I simply go 9 plus 4. 9 plus 4 is 13, so it'll be 13x to the third. Then put a plus operator. You're always going to put a plus operator. Then we have positive 3 plus positive 7. 3 plus 7 is 10. So 13x to the third power plus 10. Okay, now my next problem, it's a little bit longer. So we have x, drop your x here. Now those are to the second, so you need to put a second. And we take positive 6 plus positive 3, which is just 6 plus 3, and that's 9. Now in the next column right here, put a plus and then drop the x, okay? And then we need to add the numbers in front. They're called coefficients, those big numbers are. Now watch the minus sign. That is a negative 2 plus positive 4. So negative 2 plus 4. And also think of a number line. If you're at negative 2 and you're adding 4, you'd move 4 places to the right and you'd be at positive 2. Okay, you got to watch those negatives. Plus, and I don't drop any variables down, and I have positive 5 plus negative 6. That's negative 1, okay? And that's the answer. Okay, now we have a subtraction operator, okay? So, first off, we have n in this column, drop the n, and we take a positive 11 minus positive 5. So it's 11 minus 5. That's 6. So 6n. Plus, then in the next column, we don't have a variable to write down. And I'm going to take negative 4 minus 2. 2 is positive. So negative 4 minus 2. Now, if you're at negative 4 on a number line and you're subtracting, you'd go 2 to the left. Okay? And you just end up deeper into the negatives. That's negative 6. So again, negative 4 minus and then 2, 2. If it's positive, you just enter the number. But if that would have had a minus in front of it, it would have been negative 4 minus negative 2, which would have been something different. Okay, next problem. The operator is to subtract. So we have a variable in this column. It's to the fourth power, so we drop x to the fourth. And then I take 7, 7's positive, minus 8, okay? That's going to be a negative because when I take away a bigger number, it ends up negative, so it'd be negative 1. Plus, and then we have positive 9 minus positive 2, so it's just 9 minus 2, that's 7, okay? So negative 1x to the fourth plus 7. Okay, now for the next problem. You have a subtraction operator, so I drop the d to the second power down here, okay? Now I take 3 minus 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. Plus, and here I have a variable, but it's not to a power, it's just d, okay? So drop the d down. And you've got positive 8 minus negative 7. That 7's negative. So I take 8, and then the operation minus, and then negative 7. Now, when I subtract a negative 8, and you're wondering, when I get this answer, you're going to wonder how it ends up as this. When I subtract a negative, it's like you're adding just regular 7. It's just like a regular addition problem, 8 plus 7, okay? And that's 15. Don't overthink that, though. I'm just explaining how that works. Taking away a negative is the same as adding positive 7. 8 plus positive 7 is 15. Okay, plus, and here I have no variable in this column, so I have negative 2 minus positive 6. So negative 2 minus 6, and that's negative 8. Again, if you want to think of the number line, that's fine too. Okay, now my next problem. I have a subtraction operator. So don't forget that. So in the first column, we have a variable x. It's to the second power, so we drop x to the second. We take 5 minus 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. Plus, and then in the next column I have just the x without the power, okay, so I drop that down, and I have negative 7. You've got to get that in as negative 7, okay, and then I'll be subtracting, and I'll be subtracting positive 2, so negative 7 minus 2. It's like you're on a net negative 7 on a number line here. Don't draw this, okay. It's like you're at negative 7 on a number line, and if you're minusing 2, you'd move out this way. So negative 8, negative 9. So I hope this is negative 9. So negative 9x. And then in the last column, we have a 6 and then nothing under, so we'll just drop the positive 6. It's positive, so had that been a minus 6, it would be negative 6. Okay, now the next one, again, we have a subtraction, but here I'm not subtracting. I have x to the third, but I just have the 7, so I just put 7 down there. Plus, and then I have x to the second, drop x to the second. And then we're going to take positive 3, minus 2. Now, I hope you know that's 1. Okay, now in the next column we drop the x down, and I have negative 7. We got to enter that in as negative 7. And then the minus operator, and then positive 3. Again, don't draw this, just watch. Remember, if I'm at negative 7 on a number line and I subtract 3, I'd move out this way. So negative 8, negative 9, negative 10. So I'm guessing that's negative 10. It is, okay? So negative 10x. Okay, and then the constants, I don't have a variable, so I don't drop a variable down. I have positive 10 minus, and then negative 4. Okay, now, don't write this down, but if I have 10 minus negative 4, Subtracting a negative number is the same as adding the positive number, and 10 plus 4 is 14. Okay, so that's 14. So that's my new polynomial. Okay, next up, just drop the w variable, and we're to plus, so 4 plus 9, that's easy, that's 13. Plus, and there's no variable here, but we have negative 5 plus 2, okay? Now again, don't draw this number line. I'm just showing you something. So you're at negative 5. If you add 2, then you'd move this way. So you'd be at negative 4, negative 3. So I'm hoping that's negative 3. That's one thing I did a poor job at teaching you guys last semester, okay? Last year. Okay, number 2, drop your variable with its power. Okay, the power, don't add the powers. And then we have the plus, and that's 6 plus 3. We know that's 9. Okay, and we don't have a variable in this column. It's just 7 plus 1, and that's 8. 9x to the second power plus 8. Okay, now the next thing, we have drop your variable with its power. Okay, and we have 2 plus 5. Again, 2 plus 5 is easy. That's 7. If there's no negatives, it's kind of easy. Plus, and then we drop just the k. Now, here's the problem. Your k up here doesn't have a number in front. So when it doesn't have a number and you need one, you put a 1. Okay, that's a 1. So we have negative 1 plus 3. Okay, so again, I'm going to illustrate this point. So if I'm at negative 1 and I'm adding 3, I'd move 3 to the right. So 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to be at 2. So that's 2. Plus, and then we have positive 3 plus negative 7. Okay, again. Now, when you're at 3, now you think add, you're moving this way, but since I'm adding a negative, I actually do the opposite way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm guessing that's negative 4. And it is. So negative 4. You don't have to do the number line. I'm just explaining how the calculator is getting these answers. Okay, the next problem, we have a subtraction operator. So 5, drop your n, and 5 minus 3, that's 2. And then we take negative 2. Remember, when that's just negative. And then subtraction operator, and then 8. Okay, again, so if I'm at negative 2 on a number line, and I subtract 8, subtraction just moves it out that way. I'm going to be deeper into the negatives, probably at negative 10. Plus negative 10. Okay, next page. So again, you have the subtraction operator, and you drop the x to the third power down. Now 6 minus 4, that's like simple math, that's 2. Plus, then 17 minus 9, okay? 17 minus 9 is 8. I'm just proving it. So 2x to the third power plus 8. Okay, number 6. You got a minus, and you drop the c to the second power down. Now you have a 2 here, but we don't have anything here, so you put a 1, okay? 2 minus 1, that's easy math, that's 1. Okay, then I have 7 positive, and then in the next column I have the c variable without an exponent. Okay, I always write plus as my next operator. It's kind of automatic. Then we have 7, the minus operator, and negative 10. Now remember, minus negative is like, if I'm subtracting a negative, I'm really adding the positive. Plus 7 plus 10 is 17. Okay. so 17C. Then I have -1 minus, and then +4. So remember, that's like being at -1 on a number line. If I'm minusing 4, I move 4 places this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that would take me to -5. Okay, next problem, we have the subtraction operator, and we drop the variable y with its power 3. Now we have a 6 here, but we need something here to subtract from, and it'd be a 1, okay? 1 minus 6. So I'm at 1 on a number line, and I'd move 6 units to the left. That'd be in the negatives, so -5. Okay, then next we got to be careful here. That says that's a -4. And then minus -6. Okay, I end up at 2. So plus 2. Oh, sorry, I should have put the y to the second down. Okay, y second, and then do the math. Okay, and here, there's no variable, so I don't have to drop a variable down. So I have -2. Remember, minuses mean it's negative. You're going to need to know that. -4. +4. That's -6. Okay, and there we have it. Okay, and then number 8, drop your x down with its power, and then it's plus, we're back to plus, so 3 plus 2 is 5. And then we have 7 plus, and then -3. That's 4. Okay, so drop your x to the second down. Sorry, I should have done that first. And we got 4 out of that. Okay, then drop your x down. And this has nothing to go with, but it is -4, so we put -4 right there. Okay, now let's get into the next page. And here's how the problems actually look from now on. Okay, they're not aligned vertically, they're aligned horizontally. Find the sum or the difference. So think back to the last page. You know how I was always circling this sign here? Now you're going to circle the sign in the middle. And now what you need to do is look for your x variables and find the highest power you have x to. So I have x to the second power. That'd be x to the 1 power. Don't put 1 though. X to the second and x to the 1. And then these don't have variables. So the highest power I have is x to the second. So what I do is I go blank. I need to arrange what my answer. So blank x to the second. Put a blank in front of it. We're going to have a number there here in a bit. Plus, after x to the second is x to the first, but x to the first is just x. So blank x plus, and then after x is going to be a blank with no x, okay? So that's how we need to arrange that. So get familiar with that. So what I do is I look for my x to the seconds first. So here's x to the second, underline it. Here's x to the second, underline it. And I simply just take 3 plus 2. That's 5. Now after you find out what that is, you want to cross these out. Now find x's that don't have an exponent. So that would be here and here. Now this x needs a number in front of it, so I have something to add, and it's a 1. So it's 1 plus 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. And you cross those out. Okay, now I'm looking for numbers that don't have x, and I have -4 and -3. So I go -4 plus -3. And that's -7. And as soon as I have all the blanks filled out, that's my answer. It's really just collecting like terms, but a little more complicated. Okay, now the variable c. Okay, I go blank c, and then I circle the operator. Okay, And I need to go find the highest power, the highest exponent. Those are the little numbers at the c's too. So I have c to the second, c to the first, c to the second, c to the first. So the second power is the highest. Plus blank, and then after c to the second is just c. You won't see c to the first. C is c to the first, but that's not how the problems look originally. Plus, and then this will be for numbers without c's. So c to the second, I find my c to the seconds and underline those, okay? And I take 8 plus negative 3. 8 plus negative 3 is 5. So I end up with 5 there. So cross those out after you've added them. You don't want to see those anymore. Unclutter it. And then c, I have a c here, and I have a c here. Now that would have a 1 in front of it. So I go negative 4. It's not 4, it's negative 4 plus 1. That's negative 3. Okay, and we can cross those off. Now I look for numbers without c. Positive 1, positive 5, that's easy. 1 plus 5 is 6. Okay, and that's my new polynomial. Again, the parentheses are there. Each parentheses represents a polynomial. Okay, so like here, that's a polynomial, and that's a polynomial, and you need to basically simplify this. Okay, now we have a subtraction operator. That's not that big of a deal, though. So the variable in the whole thing is m. Okay, so blank m. Now you got to find the highest power that m is to. So I got m to the second power, m to the first power, m to the second power, and m to the first. So it looks like the highest power I have is m to the second. Plus blank, and then you're going to have just regular m. It'd be m to the first, but you won't see the first power. Plus blank. Okay, so m to the second, let's underline those. So I have it here, and I have m to the second here. So I take 10 minus 3. That's pretty easy math. 10 minus 3 is 7. Okay, then cross those off. And now we look for the m's that don't have any exponents. They're actually to the 1 power, but don't need that. Okay, then underline, underline. So I'm going to have negative 7 minus negative 2. Okay, I got negative 5. Again, to see how that works, don't do this, but you'd be at negative 7 on a number line. Okay, oh, sorry, negative 7. Negative 7 minus negative 2. So minus and negatives is like plussing a positive. So it really turns into addition of a positive. So I got negative 7, and I'm adding a positive 2, so I'd move this way. So negative 6, negative 5, and that's how we got that. Okay, and then the numbers without those, you cross them out, and then we have positive 2 minus positive 5. So it's really just 2 minus 5. There's no positive button on your calculator, it's just a number. Okay, so again, think about it, if I'm at 2 and I'm minusing 5, I'd go this way. So 1, 2, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Okay. Okay, and then 4 on the next page, and then that's all she wrote. Okay, you'll work through ones that look like these tomorrow. Okay, now this one's a little bit more complicated. You have a plus operator, and you got x as your variable. Now, what's the highest power we have x to? X third, x second, and x first. X second, x third, and so it looks like this time it's the third power as the highest. Plus blank, and the next blank would be x to the second plus blank. You're not going to see x to the first. X is the same as x to the first. And then plus, and these are for what's called the constants. They're the numbers that don't have any letters. So underline your x to the third. So I have a 2x to the third here. Now, we don't want to underline that because that's not x to the third. The x to the third's right here, and it would need a 1 in front of it. So I take 2 plus 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. You got to open your eyes and look here. I don't mean to sound like a jerk, but you wouldn't underline this with this. That's x third. That's x second. Those do not match. These do. Cross those out. Now you're on the lookout for x to the second. So I have 1 here, and I have x to the second here. So I have -5 plus 2. Okay. Think of a number line. You're at -5. To the left is 0. You'd move 2 forward towards 0. And you'd be at -3. You'd still be in the negatives. You'd just be closer to 0. Okay, and then you can cross. I highly recommend you cross those out after they've been added. Okay, now you look for regular x. Okay, well right here, and that's a 1x. And I don't have any right here. So guess what? I just dropped the 1 down. There's nothing to add. The numbers without x, we just have this -1 here, okay? So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop the... Okay, no, I didn't like the way I explained that. I apologize. Since I didn't have any of those in here, it would be 0 and then plus -1. Because that comes in. I know that didn't seem like I needed to do that. I could have just wrote it down, but it will. The next problem. Okay, the variable here is n. Okay, so blank. Now go look at what your highest power is to. N second, and just n. So n to the second's the highest. Plus blank n. You won't see n to the first. N and n to the first are the same thing. Plus blank. Okay. All right, the operation subtraction. So look for your n to the seconds here and here. So I have 4 minus -2. Now remember, minus and negative, think of that as going plus, plus. What would 4 plus 2 be? Probably 6. And cross those out. Now we're on the hunt for n's with no exponents, so not there. Right here pretty much is my only thing. Now here's how you need to do the math though. You didn't have anything in here, so that's 0, okay? Minus 2. -2. Now that's why that's important to do the 0, okay? If you don't have anything in the first, okay? Because otherwise that is -2, so you can cross that out. Okay, now look for numbers without variables, okay? We have 5, positive 5, minus -4. Now remember, minus -4 is like 5 plus 4. Simple math, it's 9. Okay, 2 more. These don't take a lot of work, they just require me to explain a lot. Okay, so m is the variable, okay? You have m to the second, you have m, and you have m. So I'd start with m to the second, and then I'd have blank m, and then plus blank. So the operation subtraction. So m to the seconds, well, I have this, and then I don't have anything here, okay? So since this is the only one I've had, it's pretty much -4 minus 0. Because I didn't underline anything there. That's -4. It's not as big a deal when it's in the first parentheses in the first polynomial, but when it's in the second, that's fine. So you're like, can I just drop it? No. Do the operation with 0 then. Okay, then m. Well, 3, positive 3. And then right here, that's 1. So it's 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. Okay, now for the constants, I have -1. Constant means it doesn't have a variable multiplied by it. -1 minus positive 2. Okay, -1 minus 2. Think, I'm at -1 on a number line, And if I minus 2, I'd move out this way. Negative 2, negative 3. Minus goes this way, plus goes this way. Unless you're plussing a negative, then you do the opposite of this way. So negative 3. You don't need to use number lines. You can use the calculator. Okay, then my final problem. Subtraction's the name of the game here. And m to the second, and m. Okay, so m to the second is the highest, and then blank m plus blank. Okay, so m to the seconds, well, I don't have anything there. And I have a 2 here, but remember how I have to do this. Since I wasn't able to underline anything in there, I'm going to take 0 minus 2, negative 2. Because you don't have anything there. It's like you're having 0, you take away 2. Okay, now m, we have 3 and negative 6. So I'm set up nicely, so 3 minus negative 6. Okay, it's like 3 plus 6, which is 9. And cross those out. And then for constants, I have 4 minus 5. That's going to take us into the negatives, negative 1. Okay, hopefully that made sense. You'll be practicing some on your own tomorrow. I'll make another video, but, I mean, you can go ahead and work. The notes won't be mandatory.